Hello? Donald! Oh, hello, Vladimir. How's it going in Russia? Good, good. Hey, listen, I've been looking at some stuff you've been saying lately. Did you see the video of me talking with Obama at the Carter funeral? Hilarious, Donald, and I love funerals. But, some of other things, like about Panama Canal and Greenland, and I can't believe we ever gave the canal away. What a very sad and weak move. Well, tell me about it. It's how I feel about Khrushchev and Crimea. Yeah, whatever. Did you see Greenland wants to be part of the United States? It's like the Eastern Ukrainians or whatever. Ha, yeah, see, that's kind of point. I mean, what's the problem? Well, I mean, it's just, you're stealing my material, invading neighboring countries just because you can. That's my thing. Oh, is it now? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, what are you gonna do about it? You leave me no option. I am now backing Canada. You're what? Canada. I'm backing it. We will now call it Crusher. Well, I'm gonna call it Canada. Canada? What's Canada? That's not even a mix of USA and Canada. What are you? Well, I'm gonna say it. Big, beautiful Canada. Canada. Crusher. Canada. Crusher. Wait. Shouldn't we ask the Canadians what they think about all of this? You really got me. You really got me.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Vibe Program. I am your host, host, Joe Neerman, a.k.a. Good Lawgic. If you follow me on Locals, if that's like your thing, that you follow me on Locals, you saw me on a space today, because that's one of the things I do in Locals is when I pop into a space on X, I notify those folks who have the courtesy and foresight to sign up at goodlogic.locals.com. What did he say? Good Logic. Like the name is spelled. Goodlogic.locals.com. That's goodlogic.locals.com. I learned from the Karen Reed trial. You have to say everything 3 times. So there you go. So now you can say Joe Neerman walks around saying goodlogic.locals.com 3 times. Every time he's saying goodlogic.locals.com. I can't even take it. It's got goodlogic.locals.com coming out of my ears. You would have noticed that I sent the notification out, and apparently I did pretty well during the 3 minutes I was talking, which was a 3-minute span, and then people, I created a little bit of an uproar, I guess, because a couple of people were calling me out by name, trying to refute me with idiocy, stupidity that I was itching to refute. And then they're like, no, 1 second, Good Logic. No, we'll get to you in a minute, Good Logic. No, we're going to hear from you in a second, Good Logic. And then all of a sudden, they're playing an interview of Donald Trump. And I was like, what is that? What is that? What is that? I'm not sticking through this interview. I don't know if this interview is 10 minutes or 2 hours. And I got a show I got to prep for. I got a show I got to set up here. I can't just be sitting here. I got chess to play. I can't just be sitting here. I can't be doing that. I cannot be doing that. So I left. But the 3 minutes that I put in there actually did pay some dividend, in that there's a gentleman by the name of Bill Mitchell, who I know next to nothing about, other than the fact that he's seen to be espousing a MAGA perspective while apologizing for being anti-Trump at one point. And then went on and on and on about how we can't be held hostage by 384 Democratic appointed district court judges who think that they became president of the United States and issuing one TRO after another. And when I picked up and I was basically walking through all the flaws that my adversary from the left, the attorney adversary from the left, was presenting as far as her basis is how we should respect the rule of law, respect these judges, respect the fact that they're writing TROs. And this is something that we never complained about when TROs were being written against Biden, never complained about TROs issued against Obama. All of a sudden, we start complaining when the shoe's on the other foot. And I basically made the counterpoint that the shoes are not on the other foot because we've never seen TROs like this in history. You tell me one TRO here, one TRO there. That's a very different thing from every executive order that Trump signs there's a TRO coming. We know it's coming. We know it's coming. He signs TRO, boom. Oh, let's get a TRO. Doesn't matter what the issue is. Doesn't matter the fact that TRO is supposed to be a drastic remedy. We're just going to get another TRO. It's just coming. We know it's coming. It's a question of when and how and which judge is going to be the woke one to sign off on it and say, hey, I'm the one who's standing up to Donald Trump. And it seems as if they have no other agenda other than to just stand up to Donald Trump. And accordingly, when you consider the fact that it's drastic remedy, that people should bear in mind that there is a notion of a order issued by the court being illegal. There's such a thing. It can be illegal. And then if it's affirmed by the circuit court, it remains illegal. And if that is affirmed by the Supreme Court, at that point, it remains illegal. Well, this led to Tiro responding to me, misunderstanding what I was saying, claiming that I said that TRO XYZ is illegal, which I hadn't specified any, although there are one or two that I think are illegal, no question about it. One of the things I actually cited was, people signing off on TROs that have nothing to do with any persons in their jurisdiction. That seems to be a massive flaw. But there are other examples thereof, and somebody got up there. I don't know who this guy is. He goes by the name of Bunk, and he goes, I heard one guy up here purport to be a lawyer saying that there's such a thing as an illegal order. Well, that's preposterous. They tell you day one in law school, there's no such thing as an illegal order. It's impossible to have an illegal order. And I say, nonsense. That guy's an idiot. I'm sorry. I went to Fordham. I don't know. Maybe he went to school that was worse. Maybe he went to school that was better. Maybe he never went to any school at all. I have no idea if that dude's a lawyer. But no, they never told me that in law school. And if they did, they would have been wrong. It's that simple. Imagine here. I'm going to make this very simple. For anyone who's watching who's a little confused about this, just think about this for a second. Think about this. District court judge comes out there, writes an order, and temporary restraining order, whatever reason, or not even a TRO, it could be a final order, saying it is illegal for John Smith to practice Christianity in any manner, shape, or form. Is that possibly legal? No. No. Obviously, that's ridiculous. I'm not saying that a judge would sign that, but if he or she did sign that, clearly that would be illegal. And it doesn't take a rocket scientist to say that or to recognize that that is very obviously illegal. No more or less legal or illegal if that ridiculous decision were to come up, be appealed to the circuit court, and the circuit court would say, oh yeah, good decision. Still illegal. And then if it goes all the way up to the Supreme Court of the United States, and you get 9 justices come in there, and all 9 of them go out on some drinking binge party, get high, and decide we're going to sign off and affirm this thing, and say, no, John Smith's not allowed to practice Christianity in any one of his forms, shapes, or manners. In that case, that still would be illegal. No more legal. Now, the problem is we would have a constitutional crisis because there's nobody to proclaim it illegal that would be higher than the Supreme Court. But that doesn't mean that those hallowed justices have not entered an illegal order because it is breaking the law. It is purporting to say that which is black letter law, obvious First Amendment rights are no longer possessed by a particular individual. That is illegal. And I don't care if it has the blessing of all 9 Supreme Court justices. That doesn't matter. It's still illegal. The problem we have is that there's no one to overrule them. And frankly, even if we had 5 more layers of justices, in theory, it can go all the way up to another 5 levels. There's no way to deal with that in a way that's actually pragmatic. So we just sort of hope and pray that by the time something works its way up to the Supreme Court, that somebody will find some sanity along the way and say, hey, why don't you actually read the Constitution? And it doesn't have to be the Constitution. But let me give you another constitutional example, not quite as obvious to some people as that whole Christian, no practicing Christianity thing, which is obviously a blatant First Amendment violation. Let's say instead, a district court judge were to order the president of the United States to bomb Moscow. And he enter an order, thou shalt bomb Moscow. Or it doesn't have to, it could be Halifax. It doesn't have to be, some terribly dangerous nuclear power, but they entered an order like that. That would be a violation of separation of powers, and they'd be imposing upon beyond their regulations in order beyond their jurisdiction. Clearly stepping into unique and exclusive Article 2 domain. The Judiciary is Article 3. Those who are confused when we use references to articles, you should understand that the first article of the Constitution dictates the rules and jurisdiction of Congress. Article 2 dictates and walks us through the powers of the president, chief executive, and Article 3 is a reference to the judiciary. So when you talk about powers that are solely and uniquely Article 2, if Article 3 says, I'm going to, which included in there is foreign affairs and the right to, and starting wars actually comes up in with Congress. Congress plays a role in that. But I don't want to get into that. But the authority to direct the executive to bomb another country is clearly well beyond Article 3 powers. Nothing in the Constitution authorizes the court to give such a direction, and if such a direction were ever issued by a district court judge, it would be illegal. And same if it gets affirmed at the circuit court, and same if it gets affirmed by the Supreme Court. It doesn't become legal and have conferred the blessing of this is now legal just because you have the Supreme Court signing off on it. And this is something that the left gets very, very confused about because they're so accustomed to seeing the Supreme Court just write its own legislation, whether it is in Roe v. Wade, where they decide to just make up their own laws, whether it's in something which is seemingly far more innocuous than Roe v. Wade, like New York Times v. Sullivan, and all of a sudden they're inventing a malice standard that never existed anywhere before, but they said, hey, let's write this. And that just becomes law. But that doesn't really mean it's not an illegal thing that they're doing. Sometimes you could do illegal things and get away with it. It's true. Well, anyhow, that was the next example of an illegal court order, but a more pressing one that we are seeing happening today with far too much alacrity in our judiciary is the notion that you have authority to presume to preside over cases that are not properly before the district court. Certain cases are not allowed to be before the district court. Certain cases, like claims against the United States for money, have to go to the Court of Claims, the Federal Court of Claims, District Court of the United States, and all 94 districts has no authority there. No authority whatsoever. So if they assert authority and then start writing TROs telling the president what he can do, I am sorry, it's an illegal order. The question is, what do you do when this illegal order comes? Well, you can appeal to the circuit court and hope that they're not as high on acid as whatever stupid judge signed off on that thing. That's one thing you can do, which is what Trump has done. And sometimes, sadly, they are just as high, and then you got to go to the Supreme Court. And hopefully, you hope that sanity will reign there out of a majority, 5 out of 6 of the possible justices who will agree. And there you go. That's basically the way our judiciary operates today. But if we didn't have that Constitution in the Supreme Court, if you had 9 Justice Jacksons in the Supreme Court, that wouldn't start making things legal. I mean, we should all be very, very grateful that we're blessed to live in the times of Clarence Thomas. But unfortunately, he does not always carry the day. Somehow he's not even a Supreme Court justice, which don't ask me how that happened, because he got in there before Justice Roberts. So he was racist. I don't know. I'm just kidding. Supreme Court, if you're watching this now, I'm joking. I don't think it's racist. It's probably politics. But anyhow, I digress. The reason I'm sharing all this with you and going on about this for nearly 15 minutes is because as a result of my little 3-minute spiel there, which was much shorter than what I gave you right now, there's a gentleman by the name of Bill Mitchell who actually reached out to me and said he wants to have me on his show. I don't know who he is. Maybe some of you know Bill Mitchell. I don't know Bill Mitchell? Who is Bill Mitchell? That's what you all say. Who is Bill Mitchell? I'll show you. I don't know what I don't know. I don't see it. Well, he did DM me somewhere here. Here it is. He's got a show called Your Voice America. And he asked me to come on. This is Bill Mitchell. This is him.
He won the popular vote. He won all 7 swing states. His message was to secure and protect our borders and to deport the illegal aliens, starting with the criminal illegal
Any of you
aliens
know who he is?
who are here. This is his mandate. This is what America voted for. But we have groups like American Civil Liberties.
Anyhow, I don't know. I'm supposed to be going on his show. So I consider that a win. Somebody who'd never heard of me before, who now has heard of me, who actually can help give me access to a new audience that never heard of me before. I don't know much about him other than the fact he has this Your Voice US.us. This is his thing. This is his. Seem nice enough. This is his thing. What? Why? That's a very mixed reaction. That's a very mixed reaction. Kelly, thank you so much for the super chat. SCOTUS is not final because they're right. They're right because they're final. Important concept. Correct. SCOTUS, that's exactly the right way to say it. SCOTUS is not final because it's not the fact that they're right that makes them final. It's the fact that they're final. The only reason they're right is because there's no one above them. But that doesn't mean it's not illegal. And it also doesn't mean that necessarily the president should defer to him if they're doing something that's blatantly beyond their powers. If they were directing him to bomb, to bomb Great Britain, he should say, no, you don't have that authority. Everyone would agree with that. Anyhow, so there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on that I need to share with you all, and we are going to commence with that presently. I want to start here. This is. I do have a goal tonight of 15 yellow or above, in which case I will go for an extra hour and have a call in. So if we manage to get our 15 yellows, I'll go for 3 hours tonight. That's right. I'll do it. You can't stop me. I'd say yes for the Great Britain. I'm member for 29 months. Good to see you, Nathan. I'm gonna give a hard horn for that one. Sometimes you can do illegal things and get away with it. It's true. Good logic, not actual legal advice. It is true. It's a good thing to remember. Sometimes you can do illegal things and get away with it. It's true. It's just reality. I'm not telling you what the law is. I'm just telling you, clearly that's not the law. I'm simply saying people get away with doing illegal things. Maybe that's where I found his limited SCOTUS authority. Nah, they must have just fouled up. They must have just fouled up. That's all possible. Anyhow, we are clearly having a constitutional crisis, and I know that we're having some sort of constitutional crisis, and that it's all Trump's fault because my TV told me so over and over again.
We begin tonight with the escalation in the president's crackdown on illegal immigration.
Today's dramatic escalation in the Trump administration's conflict with judges.
The Trump administration signaling a major escalation in its deportation efforts.
Today, an escalation in the Trump administration's battle with the judiciary.
Tensions between local and federal authorities over President Trump's immigration crackdown escalated today.
We begin this hour with a major escalation of the Trump administration's crackdown on immigration.
We begin with what appears to be a major escalation in the Trump administration's deportation efforts.
And what is a major escalation in the battle here in D.C. over immigration and deportation.
This feels like an insane and reckless escalation from the Trump administration arresting a judge. I will tell you, you are not alone.
It's a dramatic escalation.
More aggressive moves, more escalation.
Trump's escalation of his migrant purge.
This kind of escalatory action.
This is a dramatic escalation.
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 We see an immigration, an escalation.
There you go. Nice little montage there, courtesy of Western Lensman. It's so terrible. People wonder why we don't trust mainstream media. People wonder why. But today is not about crazy lefties. Today is about celebrating 100 days of this Trump administration. And some of you may properly be saying, Joe, yesterday you labeled it 98 days and now you're calling it 100. What happened to 99? Today is technically 99, but everyone's talking as if this is day 100. That's not on me. I did the math. Now, my math could be wrong. That's possible. I don't think it is, though. I think my math is right. But anyhow, I think tomorrow is day 100. Today was day 99. Yeah, see, because 7 goes into 98 14 times, and he came in on a Monday. I guess you can count now in the middle of a Monday. I guess that's a 99. All right. He's like at 100. Whatever. All days are 100. There you go. Okay. Carolyn Leavitt. I'm 100 days in. I still don't know if it's Leavitt or Levitt. Is it Leavitt or Levitt? One of you tell me. Levitt? Like, it's unleavened, but you can say leave it. It doesn't matter. Carolyn. We'll just call her Carolyn. Love it. Okay. Well, anyhow. She had a nice little press conference with Scott Besson today, talking a little bit about day 100. So let's hear from her.
Happy first 100 days. Before we begin, I want to acknowledge that the bipartisan Take It Down Act passed the House last night. This important legislation was championed and guided through Congress by our wonderful First Lady, Melania Trump, including through her direct advocacy on behalf of survivors during her passage, the passage effort.
Trust me, we know the
Take It Down Act criminalizes the publication of non-consensual intimate imagery and requires social media and similar websites to remove such content within 48 hours of notice from a victim. The First Lady thanks all those who voted in favor of this important legislation, and the president looks forward to signing it when it arrives on his desk.
So courtesy of Melania, we have to take it down that inappropriate imagery of persons without their consent must be yanked down, which I guess is good if you can do it, if it's can be done properly. Like, how would you know it's the person who's complaining? I don't know how you would do that. It's not based on a Jewish calendar. It's 99 days based on the Jewish moon. Yeah, exactly my point. I guess now is the 100th day because it's evening. So there you go.
Today officially marks 100 days of promises made and promises kept by President Trump. This has truly been the most historic start to a presidency in American history. After building the greatest economy in the world in his first term as president, President Trump is in the process of doing that all over again. The American people trust in President Trump. Since his first day in office,
I should pause for the ghetto because there were a bunch in there in the ghetto. John Reb said, Joe, I clipped a Runkle closing argument stream. Lally 100% stated Karen not taking off boots because she knew he was dead. Oh, see, I predicted that. I'm so pleased with myself.
They take off their boots, they come out in the snow, they take off their boots in the mudroom, and then they walk. What did they both indicate that the defendant did that morning when she came back to the house? Walked right in with the shoes. You hear that second voicemail. It's after the defendants arrived back at One Meadows Ave, after her phone was reconnected.
If you were watching my coverage today of the Karen Reed trial, then you understand how it's relevant to what I said, where I spent an hour talking to Nick after the trial, or a half hour or so, talking to Nick after the trial had ended, and I was talking about how both Jen McCabe and Kerry Roberts seemed to make a big deal about how she took her boots off, and I'm like, how would they both be making note of that? So you're taking your boots off, like you're both making note of it, that she's not. That seems bizarre and not really credible. So thank you for clipping. And I said maybe they're planning on saying the reason she didn't take her boots off is because she knew he was dead and that he wouldn't be complaining, which sounds ridiculous when she's frantic about where he is. But Johnny Reb also says, Jody 121, good evening all. I tickled the plus C button and shared for our great leader. Not that I am the leader. Listening and stalking. God bless you all. All hail Joe, possum sacrifice and courage. No, you. God, no, that would stink to high heaven. Oh my God. Huh. No. FD Man 12 dropped a couple fives. First one says current judiciary would sign that judgment. By the way, they've been acted. Men's hearts are very wretched things. And also says the left made their beds with Hasatan. They must return from their evil ways. What do you mean, Satan? Satan, but not the Ha. It's like the. You're saying the Satan, but we would just say. All right. Was that? Yeah. Actually, put it in Hebrew there. Proper spelling too. Joe, you can only do his show once my morning drama courtroom. This is Muzelian. Joe, you can only do his show once my morning drama courtroom show is over with. I don't know how I'm going to keep going when it's done. Are you talking about that I can only do this show? Is that what you meant to say? Because I got to tell you, those of you who are wondering, like, what's it like to be streaming at 9 o'clock in the morning and then basically like the entire day and then have a stream at 10 p.m. at night, I'll tell you right now, it's not. It's a stream. It's a stream. These people, but I love hanging out here, and this is how I pay the bills. These people just sound like crap-stirring insurrectionists. This is from FD Man 12, wanting to start a second civil war through their propaganda. 100%. 100%. They sound dangerous and kind of insane, borderline insane. Let's hear from Carolyn Levitt.
President Trump has focused on defeating the Biden inflation crisis, bringing down the cost of living, and making the United States the best place in the world to do business, invest, create jobs, and innovate. And President Trump's efforts are working. 345,000 jobs have already been added since the start of President Trump's term. Last month's jobs report saw nearly 100,000 more jobs than economists predicted.
And not government jobs either.
Month for private payroll growth in the past 2 years. 9,000 manufacturing jobs have been added to the economy already. This is a sharp contrast to the 6,000 manufacturing jobs that were lost each month in the final 2 years of the Biden administration. The U.S. employment rate remains at historic lows. And thanks to President Trump, Americans are seeing price relief for the first time in years. The last inflation report showed the first consumer price decline since the COVID pandemic, a decrease in energy prices, and real average hourly wage growth. President Trump is delivering on his promises to lower costs for American families and businesses. Prices across the board for everyday goods have seen declines since this president was inaugurated. From airfare to used motor vehicles to prescription drugs, prices are dropping. In fact, last month's drop in the price of prescription drugs was the largest ever recorded. And after Joe Biden botched the response to the bird flu, President Trump and Secretary Rollins' aggressive plan have brought down wholesale egg prices more than 50% from inauguration.
We don't hear about eggs anymore. No one talks about the eggs. His first month or two, all we heard about was like, oh my God, it's costing so much. We don't hear about the eggs. The shrieking has stopped. Anyone applauding? No. That's why Carolyn mentions it.
Day. President Trump ended Joe Biden's reckless war on American energy and fossil fuels and has restored American energy dominance. And Secretary Wright, Secretary Doug Burgum are working hard on that effort every single day. Oil and gas prices are now way down because of this bold approach. Gasoline prices down 7%, energy prices are also down as well. The Department of Interior just announced a new offshore drilling policy that will boost oil production in the Gulf of America by 100.
She loves saying that.
100,000 barrels per day. On the deregulation front, President Trump is committed to cutting senseless red tape, especially for America's small business owners who are the backbone of our economy. We know cutting regulation leads to lower costs and higher growth. The mass deregulation effort by this administration will help usher in the golden age of America, which is underway. Immediately upon taking office, President Trump blocked all
It's under $3 here in Jersey.
of the unfinalized Biden-era rules, saving America's more than $100 billion, or $2,100 per family of four over the next decade. And the president also launched a bold multi-agency effort to roll back existing federal regulations that drive up the cost of living on hardworking families. This effort is projected to yield significant cost savings in the coming months, including the EPA's rollback of tailpipe emission rules for light-duty and medium-duty vehicles, and the Department of Transportation's latest corporate average fuel economy.
Okay, I'm getting some slack. I'm getting some flack, because I said it's not easy. I'm getting some flack. So I'll amend my statement. Okay, I know that I'm privileged to have the greatest job on earth, and I'm not even kidding about that. I know I'm privileged to have the greatest job, because this that I do here, talking to you guys, is easily the greatest job on earth. It's not even close. It's not even close. I love doing it. I have a good time while I'm working, and the hours in general are amazing. I'm simply saying, you have to understand that the hours I put into doing this normally don't include an extra 8 hours of work. So I have very dainty hands. Okay. I have very dainty hands. I'm not used to working these. I'm not used to like going to sleep at 2 and waking up at 7. I'm just not used to that. Okay. So like, yeah. And it's not, it's just not used to that. Now, most of you fine people have much tougher. Probably every one of you has a tougher job than I have. I know that. I'm not saying my lot in life is bad. I'm not complaining. No, I kiss the heavens every time, every day for the job that I have. I'm simply saying I'm just not used to it. I'm not used to actually putting in these kind of hours. That's all.
These two efforts alone yield $755 billion in total savings, or more than $8,800 per family of four over the next decade. In total, the combined savings from all of these actions equal just over $935 billion, or nearly $11,000 in real savings per family of four per the coming decade. The press is not talking nearly enough about the positive impact of President Trump's deregulation campaign. And investments from the biggest companies and countries in the world are pouring in under this president. So far, total investment commitments under the Trump administration have reached more than $5 trillion, including $500 billion from Apple in U.S.-based manufacturing and training, $500 billion from NVIDIA in AI infrastructure, $100 billion from TSMC and U.S.-based chips manufacturing, and the $500 billion private investment by OpenAI, Oracle, and SoftBank in AI infrastructure as well. All of these investment commitments are estimated to generate at least 451,000 new high-paying jobs for American workers and families. At this point, President Trump has secured more investments in the United States of America in 100 days than Joe Biden did in 4 years. President Trump is America's businessman in chief, and that's why these trillions of dollars in investments are flooding to our country. The business community is bullish on America because President Trump is
as it should be.
Tomorrow, the president will host CEOs and leaders from several companies that have made these investments to tout their historic commitments to our country and encourage others to follow suit.
Meaning these are all people who are like investing 100 million or more. And he's like, come on in. Let them sit down.
Under President Trump, there has never been a better time to invest in America. And the president finally said enough is enough and refused to allow America and our workers to be ripped off any longer on trade. President Trump implemented powerful tariffs to end the era of economic surrender and to rebalance America's trading agreements. More than 100.
I do think it's funny that in the middle of her touting how great our economy is looking, the advertisement, like directly on the other side, you can't ignore it says Buffett's $277 billion warning. Let's shield your savings now. I have to admit that's pretty funny. You have to admit, look, it's pretty funny.
Countries have already come to the table looking to offer more favorable terms for America and our people. There has never been a president who has created his own leverage like this president, and we are just getting started. Republicans in Congress are getting very close to passing President Trump's one big, beautiful bill, which will include the largest tax cuts in American history, strong border security measures, major military advancements, dramatic deregulation, and common sense spending reforms. As President Trump has said before, the best is yet to come.
There you go.
For more on President Trump's economic successes so far and the plans ahead, I want to pass it off to our incredible Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, who is here today, and we will open it up to questions. In our new media seat, we have Brendan Peterson, the financial services reporter for Punchbowl News. Punchbowl News covers power, people, and politics based in Washington, D.C. Laser focus on Capitol Hill, the
why am I
politics
not
of
in there yet?
legislating,
I
founded in
submitted.
2021, and it is the first
Who's
newsletter that
Punchbowl?
Capitol Hill and the White House reads every morning in the middle of the day and throughout the evening. Thanks for being here with us, and we'll start with you today.
Oh, man. I got
Thanks so much for being here. I have a question for Secretary Bessent. On tariffs, the president said over the weekend that we are hoping that maybe tariff revenues could replace income tax. But we also keep hearing about the deals that the administration is pursuing. So my question is, what is the White House's ultimate objective here? Do you want to have long-term tariff revenue or deals that might reduce those tariffs?
I think it's a combination of both. So we're going to take in long-term tariff revenue. We put a process in place. We have 18 important trading relationships. We will be speaking to all of those partners, or at least 17 of them, over the next few weeks. Many of them have already come to Washington. What President Trump is referring to is the ability for tariff revenue to give income tax relief. And I think there's a very good chance that we will see this in the upcoming tax bill. The president campaigned on no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime, and the restoring interest deductibility for autos, for American-made autos. So
I just gotta say, I didn't realize that people collect Social Security pay tax on Social Security. Why? That seems crazy. It seems crazy that you would pay tax on Social Security. Like, I guess they do. I mean, I'm not collecting Social Security yet, but that seems like something that's really overdue.
income could be used for tax relief on all those immediately.
So you think that there is a role for significant tariff revenue in U.S. fiscal policy?
I think that it is something that got put away a long time ago. And I think that tariffs will bring back American manufacturing and generate substantial revenues.
On manufacturing, we've seen some pretty grisly surveys this month from the Philly Fed, which saw the biggest drop since May of 2020, and the Dallas Fed, similar plunging outlook, poor shipping orders. What are American manufacturers not understanding about your push for onshoring in the U.S.?
Well, I think I was in the investment business 35 years, and I learned to ignore the survey data and look at the actual data, and the actual data has been quite good. The job data is good. Americans keep spending. And as Caroline said, we have these incredible commitments to bring manufacturing back on shore with record investment by domestic corporations and foreigners who want to come into the U.S.
We do. Thank you so much, Caroline. Thank you, Mr. Secretary. The Chinese continue to say that the U.S. and China are not engaged in any consultation or negotiation on tariffs. You recently said you've talked to your counterpart, but more about, quote, traditional things like financial stability. So can you clarify, is the administration talking to Beijing specifically about tariffs or not?
Well, we're not going to talk about who's talking to whom, but I think that, over time we will see that the Chinese tariffs are unsustainable for China. I've seen some very large numbers over the past few days that show if these numbers stay on, Chinese could lose 10 million jobs very quickly. And even if there is a drop in the tariffs, that they could lose 5 million jobs. So remember that we are the deficit country. They sell almost 5 times more goods to us than we sell to them. So
That's possibly true, that there will be massive job layoffs in China. What I think this might fail to account for, to be fair, if you want to criticize the Trump administration on this one, is I don't think President Xi gives the slightest damn how many Chinese people get unemployed. Like, he just strikes me as someone who's like, all right, I'm starved to death. That's kind of, if I told you, if I looked into a crystal ball and I said, hey, 6 months from now, we're going to look back and realize that on June 15th, Xi is going to say, oh, yeah, all these people are out of work. Screw them. I'm still not caving to Trump. I don't think that anyone would be like, wow, that's shocking. That sounds totally out of character for Xi Jinping. I think that I don't know that he might care. He really might not. He really may not. I'm just saying. Yeah, Trump would care if it was American jobs, but I don't know that that Xi Jinping would care.
the onus will be on them to take off these tariffs. They're unsustainable for them.
And they are saying you guys are not talking about it. So is that true?
Look, they have a different form of government. They're playing to a different audience. So I'm not.
He's not answering that question.
Not going to get into.
He's like, I can't answer that question because if I answer that question and disagree with them, that hurts our conversation. If we are having a conversation with them, or it could mean we're not having a conversation and we lied about that. It really could be either one. I'm not going to kid you. That's my take is it really could be either one.
The nitty gritty again of who's talking to whom, but as I said, I believe for the Chinese, these tariffs are unsustainable.
Very quickly,
You could see he felt the squirm on that question.
2 days ago, you said you didn't know if President Trump had spoken to Xi Jinping. Do you know now?
Again, I would say Caroline and I have a lot of jobs around the White House, running the switchboard in one of them.
Bloomberg, go ahead. Secretary Bisson, thank you so much for being here this morning. You've talked about the importance of giving investors certainty when it comes to the market, yet the Trump administration is continuing to negotiate several complex trade deals in a very sort of compressed time frame. When do you expect you'll be able to give the market some certainty around those deals? Do you have a deadline? Is it the 90-day pause? What are we looking at here?
Good question. And I think one thing that has been a little disconcerting for the markets is, President Trump creates what I would call strategic.
Uzelian saying yes and no. Who doesn't care? Pooh, as in Winnie the Pooh, doesn't care. At a point, others will force to remove him NK style, North Korea style, and someone else will take over. That's possible. Barb Loves Alaska says some states do tax Social Security. I live in Oregon, and they don't, but they do tax pensions. Oh, interesting. Okay.
Uncertainty in the negotiations. So he is more concerned about getting the best possible trade deals for the American people. We had 4 years of bad deals for decades of unfair trading, and we are going to unwind those and make them fair. What we are doing is we've created a process. I think the aperture of uncertainty will be narrowing, and as we start moving forward, announcing deals, then there will be certainty. but it's certainly is not necessarily a good thing in negotiating.
Mr. Secretary, last night there were reports on the administration sort of walking back a little bit on the auto tariffs. Can you sort of just elaborate on that decision there and what we can expect going forward, and why sort of the shift in those auto tariffs?
Well, see, this is one of the things which is just stupid. See, obviously we need to have free press. I get that. And we want to give access to the president for transparency. But this whole thing, like explaining his negotiation style and announcing to the world that he asks for the moon and the stars, so that this way he gets a couple of stars, maybe no moon, is just the way Trump deals. And that's what he's been doing. But if he walks that out there, then he doesn't get the stars. So why would he do that?
President Trump has had meetings with both domestic and foreign auto producers, and he's committed to bringing back auto production to the U.S. So we want to give the automakers a path to do that quickly, efficiently, and create as many jobs as possible.
Jasmine. Thank you so much, Caroline. Thank you, Secretary. Back from China, does the administration anticipate supply chain shocks or supply shocks coming now that cargo shipments from China are significantly down? And if so, are there plans in the process of how to address that?
I wouldn't think that we would have supply chain shocks, and I think retailers, they have managed their inventory in front of this. I speak to dozens of companies, sometimes daily, but definitely weekly, and they know that President Trump is committed to fair trade and have planned accordingly.
And then second question, can you outline the timeline for when you think some of these deals, particularly with your Asian countries like India, Japan, South Korea,
I don't want to get bogged down
may have
with
an
tariffs. I want to get back to Carolyn here, because I feel like we're getting a little bogged down with tariffs. So I'm going to skip ahead.
China, who is going to have to pay for these policies?
I will take this, since I just got off the phone with the president about Amazon's announcement. This is a hostile and political act by Amazon. Why didn't Amazon do that?
China. Hi, Mr. Secretary. So it was reported this morning that Amazon will soon display a little number next to the price of each product that shows how much the Trump tariffs are adding to the cost of each product. So isn't that a perfect, crystal clear demonstration that it's the American consumer and not China who is going to have to pay for these policies?
I will take this, since I just got.
Wow. What D-bags. Jeff Bezos is a D-bag. Wow. What an utter D-bag. Wow. Lynn's is saying this. Amazon said this is untrue.
Off the phone with the president about Amazon's announcement. This is a hostile and political act by Amazon. Why didn't Amazon do this when the Biden administration hiked inflation to the highest level in 40 years?
Yeah.
And I would also add that it's not a surprise, because as Reuters recently wrote, Amazon has partnered with a Chinese propaganda arm. So this is another reason why Americans should buy American. It's another reason why we are onshoring critical supply chains here at home to shore up our own critical supply chain and boost our own manufacturing here.
Is Jeff Bezos still a Trump supporter?
That was Knight to Queens Bishop 3. Oh my God. There you go. Well played. Well played. I like it.
Look, I will not speak to the president's relationships with Jeff Bezos, but I will tell you that this is certainly a hostile and political action by Amazon. And Secretary, if you have anything to add.
Yeah, I would also add that the bringing down the terrible Biden inflation has been a priority for the first 100 days of the Trump administration, and President Trump has done a great job of leading that since January 20th. Interest rates, mortgage rates are down, gasoline and energy prices are down. We're expecting the further decreases, and as Caroline said, the big tax on consumers that goes unnoticed is deregulation. or regulation, and we are deregulating and bringing that down. So, from a household income point of view, we would expect real purchasing increases. We've seen them over the first 100 days, and we would expect that to accelerate. We are doing peace deals, trade deals, tax deals, and deregulating. And the deregulation is a longer lead time, but I think by the third and fourth quarters, that's really going to kick in.
Thank you, Caroline. A question for you and Secretary Bessent. We talk a lot about volatility and uncertainty in the marketplace, and the president.
Just so you know, I am checking with Grok. So, because I am curious, because I'm seeing all those reports in my chat saying that Amazon is back down on this. So I asked whether they are marketing it, but that wasn't the right way to ask it, because they say they're not currently marketing it. Amazon is not marking how much products price increase results from tariffs. Reports surfaced that Amazon considered displaying tariff-related import charges on its low-cost haul platform. The company denied these plans, stating they were never approved and will not be implemented. The idea was limited to haul and not considered for Amazon's main website. This clarification came after the White House criticized the reported plan as hostile and political act, and Trump personally called Amazon founder Jeff Bezos to object. However, Amazon sellers have raised prices on nearly 1,000 products since early April 2025, with an average increase of about 30%, largely attributed to Trump's tariffs on China. All right. We'll have to suffer through for a bit, unfortunately. But hope for the long term that things will work out better.
Stated all along that he's more concerned about mainstream America, the American worker. You just talked about deregulation and this entire fair trade and reciprocals. What is your message to the American people in terms of letting them get through this disturbance and the outcome being greater and a greater good for the American worker, the American people, the American families?
I would say trust in President Trump. There's a reason he was reelected to this office. It's because of the historic success of his economic formula in the first term. And as I laid out at the beginning of the briefing, and the secretary has talked about, and the president talks about every day, there's a proven formula that works. Massive deregulation, energy independence, and tax cuts, which are coming. And the secretary is working very hard on that with our counterparts on Capitol Hill. If you want to talk about that, that's a huge deal.
I personally don't believe that tax cuts help the economy. Well, tax refunds, I don't think help it. I don't think a little splurge of money helps. Tax cuts could. That could spur investment.
To put more money back into the pockets of hardworking Americans. As for the fair trade deals the president is trying to negotiate, he's not just righting the wrong of the mess that he inherited from the past 4 years of the Biden administration. This is a mess that has been created for the past 4 decades, that has sold out the middle class, that has moved jobs overseas. You think about our heartland, middle America, what towns used to look like, what they look like today. President Trump wants to restore the golden age, and it's a process to do that. And that process is underway, but he's put together a fantastic trade team. Secretary Bessent, Secretary Lutnick, Jamieson Greer, all working incredibly hard on this effort 24/7. But tax cuts are coming, and that's key. And Mr. Secretary, why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so it's really a three-legged stool in the economic policy. It's trade, it's tax, and it's deregulation. So we are in the midst of addressing, as Caroline said, these long-term trade imbalances. The tax bill is going much better than I would have thought when I took office on January 28th. And that
I'm not going to kid you. He looks so stiff. Sometimes he says some great stuff, but he does look as if like he looks he looks more wooden than my kid's treehouse.
through President Trump's leadership that Speaker Johnson, Leader Thune are united. Speaker Johnson, we had a very good meeting yesterday with somebody called the Big Six, NEC Director Kevin Hassett, myself, Speaker Johnson, Leader Thune, Committee Chairman Jason Smith, and Senator Crapo. And the tax bill is moving forward. It is going to give permanence to the 2017 Tax Cuts and Job Act, which will, back to the question on certainty, it will give American business certainty, it will give American people certainty. And then President Trump is also adding.
I'm getting agitated just listening to him. No offense. I hope none of you had high hopes that we were going to spend a lot of time listening to Scott Besson tonight. If that's what you tuned in for, I hope I satisfied you. I fed that craving for you sufficiently, because I got to move on. I can't listen to Scott Besson for extended periods of time. It's also, I have a similar thing with Ben Carson. I can't listen to him for long periods. All right. Vigilant Fox put together a great series of clips from Victor David Hanson talking about his first 100 days. So I want to break this down, because I want to start assessing some of the good, the bad, well, struggling. We'll not call it bad, but okay, fair enough. And what we can expect as we look ahead. And Victor David Hanson, who's a very smart individual, has a couple of phenomenal points I want to share with you all. That was brought courtesy of Vigilant Fox. Let's start off with this clip here about Trump's biggest accomplishment, and it's not even close. What would you call his biggest accomplishment? Before I play this, what is his biggest accomplishment so far? Biggest accomplishment. Yeah, he is great. He really is. Still people. Most of you figured it out here.
He has completely reversed 10,000 people coming in a day, over 300,000 a month, 12 million in 4 years, to essentially 98% of the border is secure. In fact, there is no open border now. Now he has pivoted to try to address the 12 million people that Joe Biden not only let in, but scattered all over the United States on often state, federal, local subsidy. That's going to be a task. But he has shut the border. No comprehensive immigration reform, none of the things they said was necessary, none of the things that said that it was impossible, that hampered by. He just did it. We've never seen anything like it.
And just to make that point, a year ago, Joe Biden was saying, I would have closed the border, but the Republicans didn't sign off on my stupid open the border bill. We can't do it. I'm hamstrung. There's nothing what can we do? There's nothing we can do. That's what everyone on the left was saying. Every idiot on the left was screaming that the reason our border was open, it was because the Republicans and couldn't be closed without greater funding and this and that and all these different things we needed to close the border. And Trump basically proved all of that was fat poppycock BS, hot garbage, Lindsay Lohan level hot mess type of perspective. Because he has 100%, he's closed the border in ways it's never been closed, but since like Spanish-American War. It's really been a remarkable thing what he has done there. Now, on the flip side on this issue, it's frustrating. It's frustrating that the left, what they did to stand in the way of deporting even illegals, where it's like, let's face it, you shouldn't have to be a member of MS-13 to get deported. You're an illegal alien. Go home. Just go home. Just send them home. All the more so if they're part of MS-13. But I don't care if you're part of MS-13. I don't care if you're an honest, hardworking dude. If you're not here legally, go home. If you're here legally, fine. Stay here. It's really that simple. It's really that simple. And you talk about 12 million. I don't know if the number is 12 million or 15 million or 20 million. Every time I hear different numbers as to how many we're talking about here, 12 million over the last 4 years. What about the folks who came in here over the 20 years before that? Kilmar Bagel Garcia is a reminder that we still have illegal aliens here since Obama. Since Obama's first term. I mean, he came here in 2011. They still got illegals here. They got illegals here from 2011. So you tell me, how are we possibly going to do this? Like, how are we going to get rid of all these people? We only have 4 years. Now, he should be making me a judge any day now. And once that happens, obviously, I'll take care of my corner of the world. But that is I need to make a post about this. Make me a judge, and I will bounce them out. That'll be real work. But I'll do it. I'll do that. I'll accept that role. So yeah, it is a little disheartening because I'm like, we're sitting here fighting over getting out a few hundred crazy gangbanger criminals, psychopath criminals. How the heck are we going to get clearance on removing millions of illegal aliens? I brought up this plan yesterday. I said, make me federal administrative judge, assign me to immigration, put me in the Southern District of New York, and I will just have a big fat rubber stamp which says GTFO on it, and I'll stamp, and I'll stamp, and I'll stamp. I'll take in hundreds at a time. I'll start sorting them like they're in camps. Be like, we're reading up a list of names here. Your name is on the list. Your name's on the list. Then you need to fill out these 3 questions. We'll write them in Spanish. We'll have them available in every language. And just basically like, you have to check off these boxes and make it like, something that they actually have to think through. Are you an asylee? Who is persecuting you? Do you have a loved one who needs you here? You may not be an asylee, but you have a loved one who needs you here. If you have a loved one who needs you here, take them with you. You're gone. Adios. It's really that simple. It's that simple. Oh, you're an asylee. Oh, okay. How did you get here? Did you come through Mexico? Oh, okay. Well, we're sending you back to Mexico. You can't just asylee to a country of your choice. You have to stop in the first safe harbor. You didn't stop. So we're sending you back where you had to stop. It's that simple. It's really not that complicated. A whole bunch of questions. And I'll tell you right now, at least 80% of them will be gone by the questionnaire. Okay, you gone. You gone. You came through Mexico. Sorry. You're indigent. Sorry. Adios. You had to literally come to this country first. So that'll basically get rid of everyone but the Mexicans. So some Mexican asylees. Most of them are not Mexicans. Most of the Mexicans came across the border a long time ago. Most of them are not Mexican. It's really not that hard. And seriously, take a whole room full of them. I would say, okay, I need a warehouse that can hold like 3,000 people, and we'll start giving out the forms. And it's like, adios. I'll have Tom Holman. He'll have my phone number. We'll be on the phone every day. I'll be like, how many are you sending me today? And we'll have our pre-printed forms of you're gone, go back. It's a fuera, go back to Mexico. It's that simple. That's what will happen. Just make me a judge. Make me a judge. I will. It's not that hard. Adios, amigo. Adios, amigo. What do you think? You heard my suggestion? The immigration crisis? I said my suggestion is that Trump should make me a judge. What? And that I will have a big stamp which says "Get out of Dodge," and I will just stamp. I'll have 3 people working for me. I do know someone who said they'll get me whatever job I want.
There you go. You have an in.
I've been make me administrative judge, and I'll have Tom Homan on the phone with me, and I will bring in by the thousands, and I'll be like, look, if you're an asylee and you came through Mexico, you're gone. If you're here because you're taking care of someone, take them with you. I don't care. You're gone. There's no anchor baby anymore. I'm tired of the whole anchor baby notion. There's no such thing as an anchor baby. An anchor baby is not an anchor into the United States. It's an anchor perhaps for some parents who don't want them, but they are not an anchor that manages to keep you or give you a privilege of residing here in our blessed country. So I'm sorry, you're gone. You can take the kid with you. You don't want to take the kid with you, so we'll send you home, and they become a ward of the state, and we'll open up a whole bunch of orphanages. We'll put these kids in there. It's really that simple. It's that simple. But what I said is, I'll do it for 2 years. What? What did you say? No, what? I look cute. Thank you. Yeah. So, but what I would want is, after 2 years, I want to become a district court judge. If I'm going to be doing administrative work for a couple of years, make me a real district court judge after 2 years, with a year left in this thing, and then a year on that job, and then move me up to the circuit. Then we're good. How hard is that? No. Southern District of New York. I'll go downtown New York. I'll tell you right now, 2 years of me doing that, if it's been done right and streamlined, I could literally sign off on 500,000 people. You're gone. You just would need like a couple of dozen of me. That's all you would need to get rid of 12 million illegal aliens. You just would need a couple of dozen of me. That's all. There you go. Anyhow, but let's talk about more wins for President Trump, as brought to us by Victor David Hansen, the based Victor David Hansen. Did I have some super chats here I need to get to? I think I wanted to. Towards the ink pad. It would look great if you wear a white wig as Joe the Deporter. I would say that I'll be like reverse Ellis Island. It's I'll have like on my door, it'll say enter on one door, and the other door it'll say Afuera. Canceled. Deleted. Your stay in America has been deleted. Yeah. I don't care if you're straight. I don't care if you're gay. I don't care if you're white, you're brown, you're black, you're purple, you're pink. I don't care if you're Jewish, Christian, Muslim. I don't care. I don't care if you're still trying to figure out what identity you are. No. Go home. Crazy. The vast majority of illegals are here for economic reasons only. And that's not, of course, and then they make up this asylee claim. It's complete bunk. I suggest to Gavea that you should join forces. The two of well, put him on the southern border. I'll take New York. He'll put him, he's in Arizona. So make him a judge there. We only need like 20 more of us. The whole crisis is done. Done. It's not that hard. It's not that hard. Trust me. I'm not sure which is worse. I'm not sure if New York or Arizona is worse. You'll need a couple of folks down in Texas, maybe one or two in California. And you sprinkle maybe a second one in New York. And you sprinkle the rest around the country. We'll get this thing taken care of. People are like, oh my God, where did my gardeners go? I have no gardeners anymore. All right. You'll pay a little more on your landscaping. I don't know what to tell you. RPP says, Joe, you need a Zoom connection to 50 warehouses with a rubber stamp. Yes, 50 warehouses. Boom, boom, boom. Get that guy. He's scurrying away like Wormtail. Get that little rat. 50 cases of 3,000 each per day. Clear out 12 million in 80 days. Afuera. 50 cases of 3,000 each. Oh my God. Uzelian's giving an update to MS-13 Garcia. Let's pull this up while we're talking about the border here. What's the update now? What is the freaking update on Kilmar? Why do I have this stupid ad up here? I don't want an ad. Oh, beautiful. Typical. Kilmar Abrego Garcia, accused of being a gang member in 2018 court papers. The Post can reveal as the fight continues over whether to deport illegal immigrant dad who's part of MS-13. I'll tell you this, one of the biggest accomplishments of Trump was actually deporting, I don't know, what was it, 8 Democratic congressmen who basically self-deported to El Salvador? Abrego Garcia's wife made the claim when he filed documents seeking emergency court hearing in custody of the couple's 2 children. She's dating a gang member, Jennifer Vasquez Sura's ex, Edwin Trejo Ramos, alleged in a petition filed in Prince George's County Circuit Court in Maryland. Ramos, who is currently incarcerated in Maryland, went on to claim that he feared for his children's lives, alleging that Sura had tried to kill herself and had left the kids with an 11-year-old babysitter, the August 2018 document said. The petition, first obtained by Fox 45 News, does not identify the gang member by name, and a judge denied the emergency hearing the following month and later dismissed the petition in early 2019 over jurisdictional issues. Abrego Garcia and Sura, U.S. citizen, met in 2016, according to NBC News. The couple moved together in 2018. In June 2019, got married. While Abrego Garcia was being held in an immigration center, standing on opposite sides of security glass walls, Sura gave birth to their son a few months later. She's a freaking lunatic, this chick. Timeline of Abrego Garcia and Sura's relationship suggests the claim in the petition referred to Abrego Garcia.
He is being treated no better or worse than anyone else. This is not selective prosecution. That this is not somebody who's singled out.
I gotta find it. I found it. Took me a moment. God, that was painful. All right. Let's move on to I'm not is anyone surprised? Is anyone surprised? So it's amazing how that's another massive accomplishment, though, is Trump killed the Democratic Party. Because this issue that they are crying over, stabbing themselves in the tearing their hair out and tearing sackcloth over and flying down to El Salvador and saying I am Kilmar is the least popular issue in the world, like even in their own party. They have nothing. They have nothing to run on. Ask yourself, what does the Democratic Party stand for? They stand for the most, like, for what? We need more. We need to have more pornography in schools for small children. That's what they stand for. Reparations? I mean, what are they standing for? It's just, and this all is courtesy of Trump. Apologize. I gotta close windows here because I'm paying for having some windows open here. I apologize for that. All right, moving along. We're talking about Trump's accomplishments. We're at 100 days of Trump Part 2, of Trump 2.0. And Vic David Hansen is laying it out. Vic David Hansen is laying it out for us. So let's hear from some more from Victor David Hansen.
He has revolutionized energy. There is no new Green Deal. There's no electric vehicle mandate. We're not going to be funding more boondoggles of high-speed rail. We're going to burn clean coal, restore the Appalachian coal fields, those in the West as well. We're leasing out new oil.
I will say this. I defy any of you. Don't Google it. No grok. No looking it up. Just right now, to tell me what on earth clean coal is as opposed to dirty coal. I want to hear it. Tell me right now, because I don't think any of you know. I don't know what clean coal is. I don't know what the heck that means. Now, maybe there's some part they take out the coke or something. I don't know. I remember back from like 4th grade that there's some chemical, some part of coal is called coke or something, and that's in the whole refining and steel and things like that. I remember something like that. Something like that. But I defy any of you to tell me what on earth clean coal is. Clean coal. I think that's a funny term, but I'll go with it.
Fields. We're trying to get liquid natural gas shipped to Europe that's in dire
liquid natural gas
need of it. We're continuing fracking. We're producing so much energy that the price of oil has gone. At one point in the Biden administration, was $120 a barrel. It's down to almost 60. And by the way, he's not draining the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, and he won't do that before a midterm. If anything, he will begin filling it again pretty soon. He has revolution.
So there you go. Completely revitalizing. We're done with the Green New Deal. We're done with the EVs. We're done with all that hot garbage. Another massive. We're just 100 days in. Just 100 days in. You probably forgot about how we revitalized all our energy. You want to know another accomplishment? It started on day one. His whack awoke.
On the DEI front, he didn't have to get into DEI. That's the third rail. He just said it's over with because it violates the recent Supreme Court ruling that found that Harvard and the University of North Carolina were culpable for racist practices against Asian American applicants. The law is on Donald Trump's side. The court decisions are on Donald Trump's side. And now DEI is being purged from government auspices and private corporations. Everybody says, well, I'm Rip Van Winkle. I woke up. What were we doing? We were doing exactly the opposite of what Martin Luther King. We were judging people by the color of their skin, by their superficial appearance, not the content of their character. That is a revolution. On the DEI front, you didn't have to get into DEI.
Yep. Another massive win. This is what we voted for. So many of us were sick of this hot garbage. So few presidents. We're all used to presidential candidates making promises, but we're only 100 days in, and he's already been delivering in ways no one imagined possible in just the first 3 months.
Everybody said he wiped out the stock market because he insisted on not just free trade, but fair trade. And he said he was going to sanction China, and he did. Now, all of a sudden, we have 70 countries trying to negotiate. And as I'm speaking, nations such as Italy or Japan want to make a deal. What is a deal? A deal is they're not going to run up surpluses at the same extent. We have a $1.1 trillion trade deficit. Donald Trump is going to get in the next few weeks a few major nations. And once he does to make a deal, all the others will not want to be without a chair when the music stops. They will want to follow. When they follow, China will be eager to negotiate because its efforts to get Europe on its side have failed.
You Googled that. Clean coal is pyrolysis. Minus methane and CO2 for cooling. Come on. You didn't know that. Clean Spuds is like, oh, let me tell you. I got clean coal coming out my ears. You didn't know that. When you mentioned here the trade deficit being 1.2 trillion, I'll tell you right now, I remember, if you think that a trade deficit can't be reworked, I remember in the 80s, because let's face it, I've been around the block. I remember in the 80s, we had such a massive trade deficit with Japan that we could not even fathom. We could not even fathom ever climbing out from like the massive. It was, they even made a whole movie about how the comedy, how America sucks compared to Japan, called Gung Ho, featuring Michael Keaton, who I am convinced is genuinely deranged. But that's for another day. But yeah, the trade deficits can be remedied, and Trump is taking this on head on in a way that is exceedingly bold, and does seem like it's a strategy that can work with these tariffs. These tariffs seem terrifying to the rest of the world, and considering he basically is using the clout. America has traditionally been far too genteel. This is for a Donald Trump style. Far too genteel of like, oh, we want to be nice, we want to be, we want to be reasonable. And we've been dealing with the rest of the world as if they have a Western mindset, as if they will respond in kind to us. This was a tragic error that America has been embroiled in for forever, perhaps since its inception, where you sort of feel like, okay, the pervading Christian mentality of if we deal with others a certain way, they will return in kind, which is a Christian mentality. That can work, but at a certain point, you sort of like, well, it's almost like we're fighting with the Queen's rules, and everyone else is bare knuckle boxing on us and showing up with switchblades, and we're doing like, well, this is we got to be standing there, we're boxing like this, and like, and we're like, oh, that's not very sporting of you, mate. And like this, the way we deal, instead of just asserting our authority in ways that people consider uncouth, people consider bullying, people consider toxic masculinity, or worse yet, orange man bad type of behavior. But this is what we need. You need sometimes the bad guy to go into the ring and say, look, we have the clout, we have the authority, and I'm going to start asserting it now. And it's like, wait, we can do that? We have the authority to do that? Well, what will happen? We're not used to taking this role. It's like we're so used to just bending over and being everyone else's butler, saying, how can I help you? How can I help you? Can I help you also? And like I said, maybe it's a Christian philosophy. I don't know, as far as, being kind to everyone. I'm not saying that in a negative way. I'm saying it in a way of like certain expectations that in the Far East, in the Middle East, that's not how they look at someone who is a difficult trading partner. They call that prey, P-R-E-Y, and that they are the predator and that you are easy prey. And they have looked at America as if we were their prey. We were the gazelle. Or worse than the gazelle, we were the elephant that's slowly marching along, and they can just be gnawing on our legs, and we'll just be like, okay, please don't do that. It really annoys me when you're eating my left hind leg. That's what America has been in trade negotiations with everyone in the world. We're the biggest beast in the jungle, and just nothing. And Trump is roaring that trunk around. He's tusking people, and he's basically on a rampage. And everyone's like, wow, that's so unpresidential. I don't care. I don't want presidential. I want someone who's going to fight for us, be an advocate for us. Use whatever leverage you can. Use everything at your disposal. There will be no questions asked. Just accomplish. Just get it done. That's all we care about. That's all you care about. That's all I care about. But it's like America has just for so long just been apathetic towards taking any sort of dominant leadership type of role. And Trump is like, enough. You want to deal with us? Pay up. Pay us. And everyone's like, oh, please be. Now they're like, oh, please be nicer to us. I'm just afraid that once he's gone, that if these don't become statutes, that we're just going to be back to where we were. But at least this is a nice test phase to show Congress that it can work. If you have someone who has the cojones to basically swing his brass minerals around. Brass minerals doesn't really make sense, does it? I don't think that makes sense. Let's hear about Trump and foreign policy, because at the end of the day, that is what the president's primary duty is.
If you look very quickly abroad, Donald Trump is still trying to find peace, and no, he's not Putin's puppet. He's been very tough on Putin. He suggests he would have a secondary oil boycott on nations that bought Russian oil. It's something Biden never imagined. But he is getting frustrated by both sides, and he's putting renewed pressure. In the Middle East, Iran is at its weakest point.
So I want to tell you this. I know that Trump said that he'll get that Russia-Ukraine war over on day one. Part of the reason I think that he overestimated how quickly he can get that done, because I thought, the first 100 days, I thought by now it would be resolved. And while they have been inching closer toward peace, they still are a long way from actually having a cease of hostilities altogether. So in that sense, you can say that was an overpromise on his part. I think the reason for that overpromise is I do not think he recognized when he was campaigning how emboldened Zelensky has become to continue this war. I genuinely, in my heart of hearts, believe that Vladimir Zelensky, for personal reasons that benefit him individually, has zero interest in seeing this war end and every interest in claiming that he wants it to end, and then setting down peace terms that are impossible for Putin to actually go along with. And threatening that, otherwise all EU and America is going to stand behind me. And he's basically like the tiny little kid standing in front of a classroom of bullies, standing up to a guy who's much bigger than he is and saying, oh, look at me, I got my whole army here behind me. And like a bunch of saps and suckers, each of them for their own reasons, all these different Western nations of the world have been lining up, being like, yeah, you better listen to him, no matter how unreasonable he is. And Trump is like, I don't know. I'm not so sure about this. I don't know. You're being fair here. I don't know you're being really reasonable. So I think that if you're Vladimir Zelensky, you have right now, the world is your oyster. Certainly before Trump came in, the world is your oyster. Everyone is giving you billions of dollars simply for you showing up and doing a little world circuit tour. You can go into Congress and they'll sit there waving a Ukrainian flag saying, we love you, we love you. And Canada's going to pony up money, and Steer Karmer is going to basically start saying how, we are all Slav. And everyone's hailing him as if he's some sort of messianic figure. He doesn't have to win any elections in Ukraine. And all he's got to do is basically say, I really like to have peace, but we must have guarantees. And we need to have your military secrets. And we need more money. And we need your weapons. And we need to have a complete return of all borders. And we need to have complete autonomy. And we need to be part of NATO. And it's like, which basically Putin's like, go to hell. No, everyone knows he would say go to hell with that. And Trump was thinking that perhaps Vladimir Zelensky actually cared about dead Ukrainians and the fact that you're down to basically running out the Special Olympics for your army because you got no more healthy fighting age men anymore. What are you doing? Don't you want your own people to stop dying? I want your people to stop dying. Why don't you? And he's like, no, this is, he's just constantly demanding more and more. I don't think that Trump recognized. I think that Zelensky has become like that because he was so emboldened by the likes of Biden and a very, very proactive, united Congress of neocons and Democrats who are all like, I am Ukraine. And I think that Trump didn't realize what Zelensky has, if not always been, then morphed into, which is just basically this animal who I think he'd love to see this war go on for another 20 years. All the billions of dollars that come in there and such a significant percentage of it gets lost. We're not allowed to have any oversight. Like, how dare you ask for oversight? Remember when Josh Hawley sitting there saying, why can't we have some oversight of where our money's going? You're coming in for more money and you're not even telling us what happened to 70% of our billions of dollars that just disappeared on you? No, let's give them more money. Why? Because that's what the American way is. Fight Russia. Russia evil. Russia bad. Russia is worse than Trump. Putin is the most is Vader. So I think that's why he's been struggling there. I think that's why I don't think Trump expected that. I don't think he expected to have that.
In the Middle East, Iran is at its weakest point. Israel's ready to take out the nuclear facilities to the extent it cannot without sophisticated heavy bombers. And Donald Trump is not looking for an optional war. He's telling the Iranians, time is running out, settle, dismantle your nuclear facilities or else. The Red Sea is open for navigation. The Houthis are in retreat. There is nobody in the United States who wants to negotiate with Hamas or Hezbollah. It's an entirely new game. China is very worried that its companies are going to be delisted that are fraudulent from the stock market in the United States. They're very worried. There are 300,000 students. That is their pipeline to the expropriation of technology in the United States might have to go home. There's so many levers to pull that against China, and so much culpability on their part that I think they will make a deal.
It's such a great breakdown that VDH did. Really great breakdown. And this is the end of Victor David Hanson over here. His closing.
So what am I getting at? Forget what the media says. Forget what his opponent said. Forget Mr. Garcia. Forget Mr. Luigi Mangione. All of these distractions. The first 100 days have been revolutionary. We've never seen anything like it.
He didn't even mention Doge. He didn't even mention the billions of dollars we're saving, or the fact that our new budget is $500 billion less than the last one.
During the Reagan administration, not during FDR, in terms of the magnitude of the changes. And that is why people are furious. No one in their right mind thought anybody would try to stage a counter-revolution and be so successful in the first 100 days. So what am I?
Well said, Victor. Well said indeed. And Doge has been a massive win. If and nothing else, exposing how much waste and corruption was there and is still there and needs to be excised. And all of this, I don't even think perhaps labels the biggest success, which has yet to manifest. Because I think his biggest success may be Kash Patel. Still early, very early. And I know a lot of people are very frustrated with Pam Bondi. I know that everyone's frustrated. Where are the arrests? Why don't we see these people in jail yet? These things take time. Wait, see where we are at the end of the year. See where we are at the end of the year. Give him the time. I have confidence in Kash Patel. I have confidence in him. He's got to get in there. It takes time to sort out the wheat from the chaff. I have confidence in Kash. If at the end of 25 we're still seeing the same idiocy, then I'll be leading the crusade with you. I'll be joining the crusade and leading the charge, saying what the heck is up with Pam Bondi? Why are we seeing no and why haven't we cleaned house yet in the FBI? Because there should be so many people who are terminated. Why haven't we shut down so much of the IRS? We're 100 days in though. It's a very, very small portion of time. This is roughly 1/12 of Trump's administration. And so far, it's been exceptional. Really exceptional. An elephant's leg. Let's work out our analogies. I'm on it. I'm tired. My brain is tired. Don't you see? I'm tired. I'll tell you right now. I think the Democratic Party is close to dead. And they don't even. There's no plan. They have no plan, and this is all courtesy of Trump. He's been exceptional. He's really been amazing. Gosh, Petty Eddie. Is there one last thing I wanted to share with you here? Oh yeah, there's a couple of things I wanted to share with you. Never mind. Oh, I thought I was done. Trump did an interview where he had some thoughts about things that have been going on for the first 100 days, and we got a couple of clips of that. So, this is Trump talking about. No. Let's go to this clip here.
We begin tonight with the ABC News exclusive. Today marks President Trump's 100th day in office. And tonight, our Terry Moran sitting down with the president in the Oval Office. Terry asking the president about his tariffs, the economy, immigration, the war in Ukraine, and how the president answered when Terry asked if the president still has confidence in his defense secretary, Pete Hegseth, after those two group chats using the Signal app discussing military plans involving Yemen, U.S. military jets, and their timing. One of those chats included his wife. The president facing an historically low approval rating at the 100-day mark amid concern in this country over
what
the
are you
president's
talking about? Historically low. What are you talking about? Seriously, what are you talking about?
Tariffs and higher prices, fears of inflation. Tonight, our first look at the primetime interview that airs tonight. Terry asking the president about his advice to Americans to hang tough and what that meant when it comes to the economy.
Well, you said something a couple weeks ago that struck me. You said concerning the tariffs, which economists say are going to raise prices. You said
economists
said, quote, hang tough. Yeah. It won't be easy. You said that to the American people. Is that what Americans should expect? Some hard times?
I've said that during my campaign. Look, we won a campaign by a lot. We won all 7 swing states. We won the popular vote by a lot. You know, we had a tremendous campaign. I said all these things during my campaign. I said, you're going to have a transition period. We've been ripped off by every country all over the world. They're laughing at us. They thought we were stupid people, and we were. And I said, that's not going to happen. We're not going to let that happen.
Hard times are ahead?
I don't think so. I think great times are ahead. Look, since I came in, gasoline is down, groceries are down, egg prices are down. Many things are down, just about everything. You know, you don't have the drop in fuel and energy and oil like we did. I took it from maybe $3.20, maybe more than that, down into a much lower number. When you have that kind of a drop, you're not going to have inflation.
Not now, but it's the tariffs, right? We still have 145% tariffs on China. Your Treasury Secretary said we basically have an embargo on China.
Look, you're trying to say something's going to happen, Terry.
No, okay, well,
nothing's going to happen.
You know business.
Terry,
I want to ask you.
I do know business.
Yes,
and
so 145% tariffs on China, and that is
That's
basically an embargo.
They deserve it.
It'll raise prices on everything from electronics to clothing to building houses.
You don't know that. You don't know whether or not China's going to eat it.
That's mathematics.
China probably will eat those tariffs, but at 145, they basically can't do much business with the United States. And they were making from us $1 trillion a year. They were ripping us off like nobody's ever ripped us off. And by the way, we have other countries that were just as bad. If you look at the European Union, it was terrible what they've done to us. Every country, almost every country in the world was ripping us off. They're not doing that anymore.
The president there on his tariffs during this wide-ranging primetime interview tonight. Terry also asking the president about his defense secretary, Pete Hegseth, and whether he still has confidence in him. Here's what the president said.
I want to ask one question about Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. There's a lot of turmoil at the Pentagon right now. There's the signal chat with his wife on it where he's discussing that attack in Yemen. There's another signal chat discussing the attack on Yemen. There's a reporter accidentally involved. You said the other day that you had a talk with the secretary. Did you take him to the woodshed?
I had a talk with him, and whatever I said, I probably wouldn't be inclined to tell you. But we had a good talk. He's a talented guy. He's young, he's smart, highly educated. And I think he's going to be a very good hopefully a great defense secretary, but he'll be a very good defense secretary.
You have 100% confidence in
I don't
Pete
have
Hegseth.
100% confidence in anything. Okay, anything. Do I have 100%? It's a stupid question. Look,
it's a pretty important position.
I have no.
It's still a stupid question. It's a stupid question. It's a stupid question.
You don't have 100%. Only a liar would say I have 100% confidence. I don't have 100% confidence that we're going to finish this interview.
We will.
We may. I don't know. Get out of here. Goodbye. That's what you should have said. All right. Goodbye. You're done. I'm done with you. You still sure? Are you still sure? Oh, I wish you would have said that. All right. It's over. Get out now. Get your bags. Get out of here. That would have been hilarious. Oh, my God. We will, I'm sure. Well, one way or another we will, but maybe not when you're expecting it to. Goodbye. That's what he should have done. Oh, my God. That would have been legendary. Oh, my God. David Muir, who always looks like the he's sitting next to the guy on the train who farted. What was with the face, David? Oh my God! Both of them have that expression, don't they? They're both like, what is that? What did you eat? Oh my! I'm sorry. I think I'm overtired. I'm overtired.
Of course, the interview did continue. You did finish it. The president was, and we should point this out, willing to answer a multitude of questions here. Let's bring in Terry Moran. He's live at the White House tonight. Terry, of course, I read through the entire transcript. You
I don't think the name is actually Moran, but
asked about the economy, immigration, the war in Ukraine. You asked about Elon Musk and Doge, the federal cuts. This is a wide-ranging conversation tonight.
It sure was, David. We covered a lot of ground. As you say, the president was really eager to talk about immigration, his efforts on the border. That's something that he considers a big success. We also talked about Vladimir Putin and whether or not President Trump still trusts him. And we got a rare look inside the Oval Office that he has really transformed. It was fascinating.
We look forward to it. Terry Moran live at the White House. Terry, thank you. Tonight, the full ABC News exclusive interview, a primetime.
there you go. There you go. God. All right. I think I'm going to be landing my plane. I am tired. And I still need to set up tomorrow's stream. I know it's only 1:45, but I'm feeling tired. So, if you're not watching the Karen Reed trial, I do want to share this with you. Jenna McCabe is on the stand now. That's right. Jen McCabe is on the stand on direct. This is a woman who was at the party that the defense says John showed up there, and the defense says he never came into the house. Jen is also sister-in-law to the homeowner of the property. Jen was also with Karen Reed when they found John O'Keefe's body. Jen is also the person who did a Google search which says "House long to die in the cold," seemingly at 2:27 in the morning, hours before she should have known that he was dead or dying. So, with all of this, I am telling you right now, I've seen the work of Alan Jackson and Alessi, defense counsel, tomorrow's cross-examination is going to be fire. It is going to be fire. I'm urging you to join me tomorrow morning. We start at 9 a.m. She still hasn't finished her direct, but she's already at the point where they found the body. So, in telling over the story. So, this is going to be a fire cross tomorrow. You do not want to miss this. I urge you to join me tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Karen Reed. It's going to be awesome. It's not just another day of the trial. This is a particularly good time to jump on board. So that's going to be tomorrow right here. Links will be over at goodlogic.locals.com. What did he say? Goodlogic.locals.com. Yeah, it's like the name here where it says Good Logic. It just doesn't say in the bottom, the way it says goodlogic.locals.com right there. Look at that. Anyway, that is going to be tomorrow morning, and I urge you all to join me then. What I'm going to tell you right now is we have a lot to look forward to over the next 4 years. God bless Donald Trump. May he live and be well for many, many decades to come. And lab meat, they, them, don't eat the bugs. Do not eat the bugs. I will see you all in the morning. 9 a.m. sharp. Don't be late. That's your homework assignment. Good night and Godspeed. Oh, wait. What did I miss? Did I miss? Oh, dang it. Did I miss? I did. Oh, phew. I almost missed. Pablo's Alaska. God bless you. Saying people have to realize that bonding have T's crossed and I's dotted to make sure any arrests and charges have to be rock solid. That can't be done overnight. 100% spot on. Spot on. Spot on. Phew, that was a 20 she dropped there. I would have felt terrible if I missed that. We got it. We got it, though. Godspeed. Good night.